Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlemle in Accra on digital address GA0993341 on Joy 99.7 FM. It's also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank. Let's go. Coming up, worst ever, unimpressive, inadequate time. That's how some have described President Akufo-Addo's engagement with the media yesterday.
There wasn't enough time to ask the questions. The president came in almost 30 minutes late.
Found that very distasteful.
It's been the worst encounter that I've witnessed.
I would have expected him to tell us we have been able to investigate and this number of people are facing trial.
We'll get a response from government.
I think the feedback, and it is legitimate feedback. Yesterday, the structure and the format, in our opinion, was fine. The time is what I think legitimately there's a call that we should extend the time.
And workers of troubled gold dealership firm Men's Gold join forces with customers who've had their funds locked up to demonstrate against management. We'll take you live to the company's headquarters. Also, Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining questioned government's decision to discontinue prosecution of Chinese illegal miner Aisha Wang.
I'm disappointed at why would issue an only prosecutor. Why would that have happened? What has changed? Why wouldn't we prosecute, jail the person when we're done with it and then deport her once she's finished serving her sentence?
Be alert. Many expired products could be on the market at this time of the year. That's a caution from the Food and Drugs Authority.
If you're buying a canned product, if it's bloated, you do not buy. Normally, you will be enticed to buy the dented ones. They are sold at about 30% of the original price, or maybe buy one, get two free. So people get enticed to buy it. It's dangerous.
And in sports,
yes, we've got athletics to tell you about where a court in Accra has adjourned the case between the Ghana Athletics Association and the presidential aspirant George Lutrod over election irregularities to January 9, 2019.
And later, what length will you go to forgive someone who's offended you?
If he realizes and then he say, oh, my son or my brother, I'm sorry for what I have done. Okay.
Sometimes it will hurt you very well that you cannot even forgive it at once unless you think about it.
We've got details to stay. I am Bernice Abubeidulansa. Thanks for your company. The details now. President Akufo-Addo has come under intense criticism for his handling of yesterday's encounter with the media. Civil society groups and others have described the engagement as the worst ever. Others say it deprived journalists of ample time to demand answers on issues of national concern. We hear all those concerns and reactions in the following wrap.
The encounter was billed to give journalists the opportunity to interrogate the president's stewardship for this year. President Akufo-Addo touched on his achievements over the last 2 years and the positive impact made on the lives of Ghanaians. But on the minds of journalists were concerns about the state of the economy, investigations into the burning of the central medical stores and the Oslo Chancery building, amongst others.
I want to know how this grocery picture is going to impact on the Ghanaian, because there appears to be a disconnect. We have very good figures in the books, but ordinary Ghanaians are going to Christmas, most of them complaining that there's nothing in their pocket.
So I want to ask, what exactly are you going to do? What radical measures you're going to put in place to make sure that as we open our markets, the Nissans, the Volkswagens, as they come in, we have quality human capital that can turn our fortunes around.
And this was President Akufo-Addo's response to concerns that good economic figures are not reflecting in the pocket of Ghanaians.
Because that is the way you engage when you're talking about economic argument. The figures I'm putting out are coated, they're sugar-coated, they're not true. But not that they're glossy. I don't paint it any glossy. I have too much respect for the people of Ghana to put glossy pictures before them. I paint for them the truth.
He also replied his critics on the many allegations of corruption leveled against his administration.
And then on the basis of this bare allegation, without more, I will then say, let us have an independent inquiry. My government will never recover. We will spend all our time at inquiries because it clearly is the pattern of the opposition to throw these accusations in the air. When they're debunked, you don't hear anything about it. You just move to the next allegation. That's what we have seen.
But the executive director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Barima, was not impressed. He described the encounter as the worst ever.
Committee on this cash for seed saga. Even before the committee, the joint committee could come up with this conclusion, the president said there was nothing to investigate.
Exactly.
And I believe that
in this case, he said,
matter like this,
serious allegations.
Exactly.
And then I will.
If a matter like this in our parliament, then you would want to maybe not just dismiss it the way he did. I think, as I said, it's been the worst encounter that I've witnessed. Yes.
Now let's listen to some responses provided by President Akufo-Addo that have attracted criticism.
Mr. President, what is your take on CSOs in Ghana?
Many of the think tanks too, many of the bombs they throw turn out to be very damp squads. At the end of the day, they have very little substance to them. I'll be the first to say that it is their right to open their mouth and say what they want. But they're not going to deter me. They're not going to deter this administration.
And talking of drones?
I prefer drones flying to deliver essential medicines to our people than an investment in guinea fowls that allegedly fly off to Burkina Faso without any trace.
So how did the media encounter end?
On security, Abdul Hanan from Marhaba FM has a question. Mr. Donald Dapate has a question on politics and governance. Mr. Charles Techibwedu has a question on international relations.
Can we stop there? Can we just stop there? That will be the 7 o'clock, especially Charles Techibwedu. He's my good friend. Let's stop with Charles Techibwedu.
Well, judging by that abrupt end, I guess the president really is a man in a hurry.
I've heard it said that I'm behaving like a man in a hurry. I am indeed in a hurry. I'm in a great hurry.
Now, founding president of Imani Africa, Franklin Kudjo, has described the president's dismissal of allegations against his appointees and criticisms from civil society groups on policies as unfortunate.
I found that very distasteful because we obviously take criticism, but to just suggest that the waste beans project for which Manasseh has been prosecuting that agenda for a while, the $98 million fumigation contract, that Manasseh again has been prosecuting, and for which GII and a number of other CSOs have raised questions about the statuses of these investigations, could be described as mere, essentially suggesting noise-making. It's quite unfortunate. I mean, the GFA matter, the Metro Mass Transit, the Ghana Bauxite Company, the Australian visa issues, the premix diversion, double salary, Kelny, Unipass. If all of those could be wished away and suggested that, look, these are all noisemakers, we think the president should keep doing his work. We will continue doing our work. In any case, we employed him and his ministers, so they are servants. They should never be construed the other way around.
Now, there were more than 100 journalists at that event. Out of that number, 75 of them put down their names to ask questions. Well, only 14 had the opportunity to do so. Listen to some journalists raise concerns about that situation.
If you're a journalist and you were here, you cannot help but be disappointed for one primary reason. There wasn't enough time to ask the questions. We were supposed to start at 5. The president came in almost 30 minutes late.
I think generally it was well organized. The only deficit for me was in the number of journalists who had the opportunity to ask questions. I think honestly that the president's speech could have been a bit shorter. And in his answers to the questions asked, I think he sometimes over-elaborated on the questions, so it took a bit more time.
You heard that some journalists share their views on the media encounter. Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah has been responding to these concerns.
There's not always a single view. There are various views. And so we listen, we weigh, and we take a decision. The point the president made is that we will not be distracted from the key agenda. And I think that doesn't deviate even from what the civil society groups want. What they want is to be heard, for their views to be factored into what we are doing. I'm not sure that they are saying that we should cede everything that is being done to their opinions. I think it's a collaboration. So when I hear people say the president was in a hurry, and I ask them what underlies that claim, that because he said let's close at 7. but because we had already agreed that we were going to do 1.5 hours, and we actually did more than 1.5 hours. So the reason for which some say the president was in a hurry does not align. The president initially scheduled the event for 10 a.m., but you would recall that he arrived at 3 a.m. the night before from his Austrian trip. And that's why we moved it to the evening. During the day, he had a National Security Council meeting, which dragged on a little bit. There are a number of key security matters that needed to be attended to, which he attended to. And so we started it at 5:30 instead of 5. But we still made time for the 1.5 hours and even a little beyond that we had allocated for this program. I think the feedback, and it is legitimate feedback, the feedback is that can we add some more time to it? Yesterday, the structure and the format, in our opinion, was fine. The time is what I think legitimately there's a call that we should extend the time.
You had the Information Minister Kojo Oppong Nkrumah responding to some concerns raised by journalists who attended the media encounter yesterday. Let's go to some news happening now. And workers of troubled gold dealership firm Men's Gold have joined forces with customers who've had their funds locked up, and they're demonstrating at the company's headquarters this morning. Nancy Emefadra-Dosi is there live. Nancy, have these workers told you why they are joining the customers to demonstrate?
Right. So, Dennis, if you recall, about 2 weeks ago, the Men's Gold company released a statement that they're going to be paying some 5% of the migration fee for those who are moving to the online portal. And so scores of these customers have gathered here this morning because they also heard that exactly today they would be also giving out some monies and some bonuses to the staff of the company. But nothing has happened. In fact, just a few minutes ago, the youth or the customers of this company actually brought cars, come and burn them. And it became a scuffle between them and the police. And so the atmosphere here really is not something that you would want to behold. The police are struggling, they're suffering, and trying so hard to prevent these people from causing mayhem because they want to actually line up on the street and sleep on the road, rock part of the road that we understand. But the police are trying to prevent these people from holding. But basically, they are here to take their monies, and that has not been done. The offices are still closed.
MFA, for some time now, it's been quite difficult getting any response from Men's Gold. Have we had one today?
No, in fact, the premises of Men's Gold have been closed. The inscription, they're closed. It's still the curtains have been brought down. In fact, some of the customers told me that as early, I don't know how early they were here, but early at 2 a.m., they saw that some of the properties in the building were being moved. And they started putting out some structures outside there. So they suspect that the company is folding up. And so that is why they have all gathered here to make sure that they get their monies as promised by Men's Gold about 2 weeks ago.
Thank you, Nancy Emefadra-Dosi there, bringing us updates from that demonstration at the Men's Gold headquarters. Well, the twist of the story now is that workers have joined customers to demonstrate there. Let's head to Parliament now. The majority is disputing claims by the minority that the property government planned to buy for an embassy in Oslo cost $3.5 million in 2017. Minority spokesperson on Foreign Affairs Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa had claimed the property was inflated by $8.5 million because the current owner bought it for $3.5 million in 2017 and was selling it to government for $12.5 million. Addressing a media briefing in Parliament, Vice Chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, Sapong Amprechum, claimed the property was actually valued in 2016 for $11.5 million.
Properties in Oslo yourself, so that you'll be able to do your comparisons and also be able to know who is telling the truth. But what we are telling you is that in 2016, that particular property, that 15-bedroom property, was valued as $11 million.
Well, parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo joins us with more. Joseph, we understand that the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee has some concerns about the conduct of a particular member of the committee.
Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, the ranking on the Foreign Affairs Committee, to be specific, he says Mr. Ablakwa is acting not in the interest of Parliament. He's described him as a nuisance. He says that Mr. Ablakwa has a penchant for peddling lies in terms of some of the issues that he put out. And at the committee level, they will manage him going forward, he indicates.
I wanted the whole public to know. The letter would have been, put out there on social media. There are 1,001 correspondence that come between the committee and
the ministry, then he must as well go and get all those correspondence and put them on social media. It was totally unnecessary. Besides, I've respected him well enough. That is why when he came demanding the letter, because of a team spirit and the fact that I needed to respect him.
Well, you heard that chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee. Joseph, you have Mr. Okudzeto Blackwell with you. A quick reaction to this.
Mr. Blackwell is joining us live. Your chairman described you as a nuisance and that the money is going forward.
If doing my work, if being vigilant, if coming on my constitutional mandate, ensuring that there is oversight, ensuring that there is accountability, makes me a nuisance. The chairman should expect more nuisance from me.
Letters to the committee on Facebook.
Everything I have said has been confirmed. Everything I have said. All documents presented to us are public documents. And when you claim that you have not got anything before us, when you say that I am only creating documents and creating stories, I mean, if you have acted above board, look, we are here because the people brought us here. Why are we fighting for the right to information bill? Because we want transparency. So I am going to continue to be vigilant. I'm going to continue to be fearless in carrying out my mandate. That is why the people of Northton brought me here. And I'm not here to work to please the chairman. If the chairman wants me to just be pliant and just join a conspiracy, that will not help the public purse. That will not promote accountability. I cannot be part of such a conspiracy.
Dennis, Samuel Okudzeto Blackwell there.
All right, Joseph, can he quickly react to the claim by the majority that this property was valued in 2016 for $11.5 million and not the figures he's quoting? They give an update. Can he react to that?
Says you got the figures wrong. The property in question was actually valued at $11.5 million in just 2016, and not the 3.5 million.
Everything that I have said on official documents brought to us by the foreign ministry. They brought us the figure. You can convert 105 million Norwegian kroner. This converted 105 million Norwegian kroner works up to $12.2 million.
His point is that the property was valued in August 2017 for 3.5 million was actually valued in 2016 for 11.5 million.
No, the chairman misses the point. I didn't say it was valued. I say it was bought by an unknown buyer. Remember that we have often bought a
value, but that in 2016 it could have been for $11.5 million.
No, the evaluation report which I have, a copy of which I have made available to the press, point to the contrary.
Joseph Opoku Gakpo there speaking to Samuel Okudzeto Blackwell. He's ranking member on Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee, and that's just the latest development from Parliament. To some other news now. The Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining says it is disappointed at government's decision to discontinue prosecution of Chinese illegal miner Aisha Wan. Now, she was arrested in May last year and charged with illegal mining activities. Well, she's been deported for what government says are immigration breaches. Now, if you will recall, my colleague Erastus Asare Donko has been bringing us some reports on illegal mining, and even at the time when the ban was still effective, this woman was reportedly mining. Well, convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Ken Ashibe, says the Attorney General needs to provide answers to why she's been deported and the prosecution stopped.
Why? I'm not disappointed that she has been deported. I'm disappointed that why would issue an only prosecutor? Why would that have happened? Why would we say we are disinterested in a case that we've been following all this? What has changed? Would this deter other foreigners from coming to destroy our environment? Why wouldn't we prosecute, jail the person when we're done with it, and then deport her once she's finished serving her sentence? You think if a Ghanaian had gone to China to destroy their land, they would do this to her? What do you think? Whether just deporting her would help us raise the $29 billion that the Interministerial Committee says we need in cleaning up and reclaiming our land.
You had the convener for the Media Coalition Against illegal mining. Ken Ashigbe, you're listening to the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. Still to come, be alert. Many expired products could be on the market at this time of the year. That's a caution from the Food and Drugs Authority.
If you're buying a canned product, if it's bloated, you do not buy. Normally, you will be enticed to buy the dented ones. They are sold at about 30% of the original price, or maybe buy one, get two free. So people get enticed to buy it. It's dangerous.
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
On Thursday, 27th of December 2018, from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., all registered voters of the Ahafo, Bono East, Northeast, Savannah, Western North, and the OT areas will go to their various polling stations
to vote yellow for yes or brown for no to decide whether the new regions should be created or not.
All registered voters in the proposed areas, as well as persons who transferred their votes to the areas, are eligible to vote. If the device fails to verify you as the person on the register, you will be taken through a manual verification process once you have your details in the register. And the biometric verification device, BVD, has successfully scanned your barcode. The voter will then be issued a ballot paper, which will require the voter to vote
either yellow for yes or brown for no.
After receiving the ballot paper, the voter must proceed to the voting screen and vote for only one issue.
To vote yellow for yes or brown for no to decide whether the new regions should be created or not.
A voter can talk to the presiding officer if they have any challenges. Remember, the voting process will be at the Hafu, Bono East,
Northeast,
Savannah, Western North, and the OT areas on Thursday, 27 December 2018 from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Vote early to avoid any disappointment. Your vote is your power.
Ho, ho, ho. It's the time you've been waiting for. The JoyFM KTK Fever. Continuing the tradition of the best disco mixes and dance moves from the 70s and 80s. New venue, same intense experience. Happening on Boxing Day, Wednesday, 26th December, from 9 p.m. at the Omanya Hall, Labadi Beach Hotel. Tickets selling at 150 Ghana cedis at the front desk of JoyFM. Reservation hotline 0540-106-466. Come and enjoy the welcome drinks, the dance, munchies, and late-night hot pepper soup. The JoyFM KTK Fever is sponsored by Stanbic Bank. What's your thing? Use Stanbic online banking on the Stanbic app to transfer money instantly, buy airtime and data, pay bills, and do a lot more at your leisure. Do your thing. Stanbic Bank, moving forward. And proudly brought to you by your superstation Joy 99.7 FM. The JoyFM KTK Fever. Let's boogie.
Thanks so much for staying here on the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. It's now time for sports with Ridwan Asante.
Yes, Benny, some news off track and field. And a former president of the Ghana Athletics Association, George Lutrot, is in court with the current administration after securing an injunction on the upcoming elections. Lutrot, who is the lead plaintiff for 14 others, has accused incumbent Professor Francis Dodu and his executives of irregularities and therefore seeking some reliefs. He wants the court to appoint an interim committee to administer the GJM, the GAA, in preparation for Congress and also the elections. At the first hearing today, there was no representatives from the Ghana Olympic Committee and the National Sports Authority, so the court has adjourned the case to January 9, 2019.
Thank you, Ridwan Asante, there with the latest from the world of sports. Now, in a bid to ensure your safety on our roads, the Multimedia Group and Guinness Ghana Breweries Limited, GGBL, have signed a memorandum of understanding on a road safety campaign for the next 3 years. Managing Director of Guinness Ghana Limited, Gavin Pike, spoke to Joy News after a short ceremony to kickstart the project.
This partnership, which we're launching today, as a leading beverage alcohol producer and total beverage producer in Ghana, we believe that Guinness Ghana Breweries PLC has a critical role to play in shaping responsible consumption of alcohol. It's part of our sustainability and responsibility initiatives as a good corporate citizen in this country, and all in service of our purpose of celebrating life every day, everywhere. So it's really fantastic that we're able to strengthen our program, Trakwana Mum, which is our Don't Drink and Drive campaign, which has been running through the last 5 years through this multimedia partnership. It's really exciting to strengthen and formalize the arrangement which we've had with JoyFM and the Multimedia Group over this 3-year commitment. We know that what we're able to do on the ground, supporting the MTDD, the National Road Safety Commission, is part of what we can accomplish. But taking that message out more broadly through the biggest media platform in the country and the Multimedia Group really just brings greater awareness and a greater commitment and shows our commitment to our role of creating a positive role for alcohol in society and reducing the harmful use of alcohol, particularly in the form of drinking and driving.
Our Chief Operations Officer of the Multimedia Group, Kenan Sa, commended Guinness Ghana Limited and was hopeful that in the next 3 years, road carnage on our roads will be kept.
I think there is so much that we've been doing over the years in making sure, especially around these times of the year, that people arrive home safely. Joy used to have a program called Arrive Alive, and the whole intention of it was to make sure that pedestrians, drivers, and every road user exercises care and caution in everyday duty. But I think this is taking it many steps higher.
That was Kenan Sa, Chief Operations Officer of the Multimedia Group. Now, jollof, plain rice, kebab, some of the most common dishes you would find in a typical Ghanaian home during Christmas. As part of our Christmas series, we bring you tips from the Food and Drugs Authority on how to detect wholesome food from unwholesome ones on the market. Here's Head of Food Science Department at the authority, Maria Lovelace Abba-Johnson.
If you're buying a canned product, see if it is bloated. If it's bloated, you do not buy. Touch the top of the can, the lid of it, press it down. If you hear a sound that is like tick-tock, it goes up and down, a popping sound, do not buy. If you find that the product is dented, normally you will be enticed to buy the dented ones. They are sold at about 30% of the original price or 20% of the original price, or maybe buy one, get two free. When the product is dented, it's dangerous. Then the all-important best before dates or expiry dates should also be there. The best before date is the date that the manufacturer is saying, I cannot vouch for the safety of this product after this period. And for expiry dates, the manufacturer is saying the food is not good for human consumption.
You heard Head of Food Science Department at the FDA, Maria Lovelace Abba-Johnson. Now, he hurt me, she abused me, they betrayed me, I can't forgive. These statements, born out of pain of being offended by a colleague, family, or friend, sometimes prevent us from enjoying life, according to life coach experts. But they say everyone is susceptible to being hurt and hurting others. But when it becomes too difficult to let go, what do you do? Here's a psychologist in a panel on the Super Morning Show, Enimwa Enimado, sharing some perspectives on forgiveness.
Forgiveness really is a choice. You know, it's an instruction from God that as far as it concerns you, live peaceably with all men, and that you forgive those who have sinned against you. And I learned forgiveness from my ex-husband who forgave me. It was in his forgiveness of me that I learned what forgiveness really was. And in his forgiveness, he set me free to live. And sometimes I think that's one of the greatest gifts of forgiveness, is when you release someone from the guilt that they feel.
Well, you had there Enimwa Enimado. She's a psychologist and a panel on the panelist on the Super Morning Show. So what about you? Well, we spoke to some of you.
If he realizes and then he says, oh, my son or my brother, I'm sorry for what I have done. Oh, okay.
Sometimes it will hurt you very well that you cannot even forgive him at once unless you think about it.
Well, you heard it there. Well, as Christmas approaches as a season, you may just want to forgive that person who's hurt you. It's now time for what's trending, Mapito CBD.
Well, Bernice, people are still talking about the media encounter, and Admalis Otu says less than 30 minutes for a press briefing answer section for media is too short. Unfortunate, and a gagging of free speech. Freedom of speech is also a fundamental human right and a key feature of the 1992 Constitution. And the last one is from Ad Barrister Kobe, who says, I prefer drones than that fly carrying medicine to people in need. This was unnecessary shade, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mapito CBD. Then that was our top story for the midday news on Joy 99.7 FM. I'm Bernice Abubeidulansa. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I appreciate your company. Enjoy the rest of your day.